Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another episode of Reinvented, Redefining the Impact of Life Storms. Today we have an awesome episode as we talk about the storm of health. My guest, Marcia Reid, is an amazing woman, and her testimony is going to absolutely bless you today. So join me in welcoming Marcia to the show. Marcia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited when I reached out to you and asked you to come. And the reason why I was so excited is because, we go way back.
Exactly.
So I know a lot about your story. And I really believe that it's going to bless others' lives and help a lot of people because you're a walking miracle, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. So tell us what happened and how you have come over that storm.
Okay, well, I won't start when I was born, but I'll start. I'll start in '89.
Okay.
'89 is when this change of life, if you will, happened to me.
Yeah.
I was 22 years old and had a young baby. And I was one that always loved working out and staying in shape and things like that. So I already had a workout regimen, but I was working with the lady, Celestina, by the way, who introduced me to jogging. And I didn't immediately start out jogging 2 miles, but we did do 2 miles of walking and jogging, back and forth.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And immediately that first day, I started feeling some unusual pains that I had never experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her that the next day we went back to work. And she said, "Oh, that's just muscles you never used before. You haven't." I said, "No, this is weird." I said, "This is like aches in my shoulders and in my elbows." And we were literally just walking and jogging for 2 miles.
Right.
So I thought nothing of it, and I said, "Well, I'm just gonna keep on doing it because I'm one that always wanted." I was young, 22, trying to look cute in my clothes. So.
Yeah, there we are.
And she was like, "It's nothing, So the next day we go jogging again. It got more intense. It started spreading throughout my body, my hips, my knees. It's just, I wasn't sure what it was until one day I could barely get out of bed.
Wow.
I literally had to get out of bed and walk on my heels because I was stiff like a board.
Wow. I know that was scary.
Very.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
I made an appointment with my family doctor, and he took blood work. And I waited I guess it was like a month before he got the results back. And I go back in the office, and he said, "We know what it is." So the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Am I going to die?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, it could be fatal." I said, "What is it?" "Lupus."
Wow.
He said, "But we have something to treat it." I said, "Okay." Prednisone, a steroid.
Right.
Which at that time I thought was a blessing because it literally took the pain away. This one little magic pill, it took the pain away.
Yeah, that's true of the steroid. So tell us, what is lupus though?
Lupus is an autoimmune disease that affects your joints, your organs, and in my case it did affect my kidneys.
Okay.
And so when he started me on the prednisone, like I said, I thought it was a miracle drug.
Yeah.
Because it took the pain right away.
Yeah, it does.
And he told me, he said, "But what you can't do any more jogging." I'm like,
Young.
that was
right.
That was my
young.
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm going back jogging.
Right, and prednisone gives you energy too, so you probably felt like, oh,
I felt I was painless,
right,
and I was feeling good. So
right.
I'm like, yes, I'm going back.
Right.
I go back and jog. Of course, I had to go back into his office. He said, "I told you you can't jog."
Right. Well, it's hard because you want to be in denial, especially being that young. You think, oh, this can't be happening to
Yes.
me, And if it's something, typically as we're growing up, if it's a cold or a flu or something, we get over that quick because the body heals for us when we're young. So you're thinking
Exactly.
probably, oh no,
Exactly.
I'm gonna come over this.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Yeah.
I had to go back into his office.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I told you you can't jog
Mhm.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because the pounding of your joints on that concrete
Mm-hmm.
is affecting your joints.
Right.
He said, everyone has an like either an autoimmune or something in their system, but until they activate it, they won't know if they have it or not.
Wow.
So I said, okay, I'm done with the jogging.
Mm-hmm.
Then things started going for a turn for the worse because the aches just started coming on more and more, not going away.
Now, were you on prednisone at that time?
I was on prednisone at the time.
So it wasn't even helping.
It
out.
wasn't even helping the dosage.
Wow.
So they increased the dosage,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up being 250 pounds. It blew me up like right away.
Yeah, it has that effect.
And all I'm thinking about is my son at that time because I had a young 3-year-old.
Right.
And I said, I gotta be around here for him.
Right.
He need me.
Mm-hmm.
And all I kept saying, well, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but I was just like, this can't be happening because he's too young, he need me.
Right. Right.
And my immune system again just started failing.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point I was like, oh, and then years later, in '94, I ended up having a seizure
Yeah.
because they couldn't get my lupus under control, so it did something to my immune system where it was out of control.
Mm-hmm.
I had a seizure, but a doctor actually prescribed some medication that didn't agree with the medication I was previously on,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused me to have a seizure. Let me correct that. So the medication had me to have a seizure. In
As a
'94,
side
this
effect.
was exactly
Okay. Mm-hmm.
before I started dialysis.
Right. Right.
And so, with me taking such high dosages of prednisone and having lupus, which affects the organs, it killed my kidneys.
Yeah. Because with autoimmunity, it's literally attacking your vital organs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so lupus and MS and all of those, it finds something to focus on, either
Correct.
whether it's your nervous system or an actual organ,
Mm-hmm.
and begins to tear it down and
Mhm.
tear down the function of it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's scary.
Very.
Yeah.
And so then they tried all these different things to try to get everything under control. Didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up going to a kidney specialist, a nephrologist,
Mm-hmm.
and he would check my creatinine levels to see where my kidney level was.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point he said, it's elevated a little. It was like 2.5, which is not horrible, but he noticed that my kidneys had started deteriorating like fast
Wow.
till the creatinine level got up to a 7.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you may have to start dialysis. Now mind you, I wasn't familiar with dialysis. I have no
Right.
clue what it was. And
Because how old are you now?
I'm 57.
No. When you were diagnosed with renal failure, when you were starting to go into renal failure.
I was, I started dialysis '96.
Mm-hmm.
I was 30 then. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And you're 56 now.
I'm 57
We're gonna get
now.
to that because that's the real blessing in the story,
I'm
isn't it?
57 now, yeah.
But go ahead.
And so yeah, I was 30 when I started dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
And in '96, September '96, had a transplant,
Mm-hmm.
kidney transplant '98.
Mm-hmm.
It failed 2001,
Mm-hmm.
and I started back on dialysis.
Okay.
And I'm currently on dialysis now. 22 years straight now.
22 years straight. That's awesome. But when you first got that diagnosis, I think one time you had told me that they said you had a life expectancy of 5 to 7 years.
Correct.
And that was at about what, age 22?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talk to me about that, because I mean, that would just
man.
terrify me.
I was definitely terrified because it's almost like giving you your death date.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 5 to 7 years.
And your baby would be what, 8, 10?
My baby
Would have,
Yeah.
if that
Correct.
had fulfilled.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's terrifying. So when we think about all the people that receive those type of diagnoses and they're looking at, oh my gosh, what do I do next? What did you do at that time? How did you move past that?
I just kept believing
Mm-hmm.
and trusting
Mm-hmm.
and doing my part as well, just taking care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yes, I'm making my doctor's appointments and doing things like that. Though a lot of them even told me that I didn't even have lupus.
Mm-hmm.
Said it was just all in my head.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
They didn't even believe me. Several doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Till one of my aunts, she said, "You gotta go in there.
Say a little something to them.
You gotta
A
go
little
in there."
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did just that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, she's serious."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they started taking me more serious
Right.
because I was being more aggressive at the same time. I felt like I had to because they wasn't listening.
Right.
And I'm sorry, question you had asked?
No, I'm just, what you're doing, just talking me through how you felt at that time when they were saying, look, your life expectancy now would be 5 to 7 years because you have lupus. And then from that, you went on into the renal failure, right?
Yes.
Which is even a shorter life expectancy, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And exactly.
Mhm.
So my son was 3 years old,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, when I was diagnosed with lupus.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that I would have 5 to 7 years to live.
Mm-hmm.
He said normally with lupus you live 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
So obviously that's not true. My son was
Mhm.
3, he's 37 now. So
With a grandbaby on the
with
way.
a grandbaby on
Yes.
the way.
Congratulations.
The 29th
Right.
this month, by the
Right.
way.
After this taping.
So, I started dialysis,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, 96, transplant 98,
Mm-hmm.
failed 2001,
Mm-hmm.
and been currently on dialysis now, like I said, 22 years straight.
Mhm. So for those that are watching that are actually experiencing something like that, the mental anguish that goes along with it, the emotional, the days when you like, why me? Tell me about that.
Oh man, to be honest with you, I still struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why me?
Yeah.
Because this was the thing that people used to say to me all the time. God don't put no more in you can bear. I said, well then I don't want no more. I want God to put down. I don't need no more.
Right.
I got enough.
Yeah.
I want no more.
Yeah.
I want to share it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like mentally, you just have to. For me, though my son is grown and married, and you know, I still feel like I want to be here for him.
Right.
Now I want to be here for my grandbaby.
Mhm.
I got things to do and see, you know. And I'm like, I'm not ready to leave. So if I do nothing, I fight every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I fight every day.
Yeah.
I miss no appointments.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on dialysis now 22 years straight. Total 24 years, but 22 years straight. And like, no, I have to live. I want to live.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. When you hear that diagnosis, you got to kind of accept it and realize this might be your plight,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, you got to have that mindset, right, to say, I want to live.
I want to live.
Yeah, I'm not going to let this take me out.
You know, it's been times and it be times. I have to be completely honest that I feel like, you know what, I'm tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is just too much. I can't take it no more, you know. Been 22 years now and I gotta keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
What else he got next for me, you know?
Right.
But then, like I said, I think of my son, I said, because that's my heart.
Yeah.
Everybody know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
No matter what, you know.
Yes.
Not just to live for him, but I mean, I want to live too.
Yeah.
I enjoy life.
Yeah. So I noticed one of the things that you call dialysis, you call it work. And
Yes.
so when we call each other, you'll say, girl, you know I'm at work.
I'm at work. Yeah.
And I love the way that you reframe that. You know, you looked at it like health is my job.
Mhm.
Okay, I might not be able to go work a 9 to 5, but my job now is to live. And that was like one of the most beautiful things because, as I told you before, I be sitting back thinking about you, and I know it's hard mentally when you're trying to battle through it every day, and it's your shoes that you're in. But when I think about you, you're just such an awesome testament to it because your mindset, your will to live is so strong, and it speaks daily to what we should do in any storm,
Absolutely.
in any situation, yeah. And it also is a testament because look, 27 years later, you still here kicking it, looking beautiful, on a podcast,
Thank you.
you know, ministering to others out there. So it's just awesome, and I really wanted you to come and, you know, share that side of your testimony to people.
Like if I can't do anything for anyone but share this, how important it is. If you're going through renal failure or any type of kidney disease, if you or you've been told you have some kidney failure of any sort, get checked out early. Go to a nephrologist or your family doctor. Have you set up to see a nephrologist to get your creatinine levels and things like that checked out to make sure that your kidney function is normal. You know, don't wait until it's too late. I would hate for anyone to be in this position because, I mean, it's not fun at all, but I would hate for someone to be in these shoes because it's hard. I always tell everybody, this is the longest job I've ever had, and this is the hardest job I've ever had.
Yeah.
So, if you take nothing else from this, take care of yourself, number one. Go get checked out by your doctor. If you have any type of chronic kidney disease or on the verge of it, get checked out.
Yeah, and change your diet and do things that
Absolutely.
can kind of slow it down or prayerfully reverse it, you know, if possible. But if it's not possible, you are a walking epistle of you can still live life. Because I think you get going on a cruise, right?
Yeah, we're going to cruise.
Right. So talk to us about that, about how you still live through your renal failure.
Oh man, again, I want to live. That's just number one. Like, out of all these years of dialysis, I literally missed one day of dialysis. Because the importance of dialysis is...
No, wait a minute. Say that again. Out of what?
Out of 24 years.
24 years.
I've missed one day of
One
dialysis.
day.
And that was an important day because my son took me to Cancun for my 50th birthday at that time. So I said I couldn't miss one day for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I want to live. And so I said, if I do nothing else, I have to make it to this appointment because if you miss one day, you're taking 3 years off your life.
Wow. Okay. It's that important.
It's that important.
Because what dialysis does is it removes the toxins out of the bloodstream,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Toxins and bacteria. Yeah.
Which our kidneys would normally do. Yeah.
Normal kidneys function, of course, 24 hours and get rid of all that daily. All day.
Yeah.
Mine, I go 3 days a week for 3.5 hours each day. And that's it.
Okay.
So that's why we have a liquid restriction, limited on certain foods. I mean, it's just a lot involved, you know, with sodium, potassium, phosphorus, you know, all those things.
Okay.
It's important because if you don't watch those things, you're on the verge of hurting yourself.
Right.
And just me doing this long, my body, I think it's already, what's the word? Used to it, if you will. It's just it's got its own way of working. It knows how. I know when I'm full.
So you've trained it.
It's pretty much, yes. Like, I probably won't even finish this, or maybe throughout the day. You know, because I just know how to sit. You know,
Yeah.
and be very careful with things.
And you had to do that for your plan to live. You had to go back and do your research, kind of put aside the emotions and say, okay, what can I drink? What can I eat? You work with a nutritionist and stuff. So that's awesome in itself because you took that on. You took the power back from it.
Exactly. I literally took it serious from day one. Because they expressed to me how important it was. Like, this is your lifeline. And that's exactly how I looked at it. I'm like, okay, this is how I'm going to live. I don't know what it was, but I took that serious from day one. Unlike some of the patients that I see today, they don't.
Right.
And I just see that I try to talk to them and try to encourage them how important it is to come. I said, I know you don't want to be here. I said, neither do I.
Right.
I said, but if you want to live, you got to come.
Right. And I think they need to understand that they can still live.
Right.
You know, you go to festivals, you go to movies, you hang out. We do a lot of stuff. We go shopping and everything. But you just need to prioritize your health first, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
When you don't feel like doing something, you don't have to.
Right.
Because your health comes first.
Right.
If you're not feeling good, don't do it.
Right.
Don't make yourself do something that you're uncomfortable with.
Right. Right. Because I know when I call you and I'm like, girl, you want to go? Nah, not today. But any other day when you're feeling good and you know your body, you're like, yep, let's go.
Let's go.
And then you blame me for keeping you out all night.
She don't like to bring me home to the next day.
To the next day.
It's always after midnight.
Yeah.
So.
But my point is, there's a quality of life that you can still have, even though this storm, you're facing this particular storm.
Yes.
Anything else you would tell our viewers and our listeners to encourage them if they're facing a health crisis?
Again, if you are in this type of situation, particularly, chronic kidney disease or chronic kidney failure, get checked out as soon as possible before you have to end up on dialysis. Because a lot of people have kidney issues and not aware of it.
Don't know.
And to be honest with you, that was my case. I had no clue that something was going on, even when I was healthy. I had no clue until I went to a nephrologist and got blood work and all those things. And that's how I found out. So, yes, just take care of yourself, eat healthy, drink lots of water, and go to the doctor.
And if it happens, maybe even seek counseling or something just to help to work
That
with
would be
the
wonderful.
mental and the emotional.
And if I can add something, I forgot about this.
Sure.
When I was diagnosed with lupus, they had support groups and things, and I just kind of refused to go. I'm like, I don't want to hear all these sad stories, people sick and this and that. Until a really close friend of mine, Gloria, she said, Marcia, you don't know until you go. She said, I'll go with you. I said, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. She went with me, and that was the best thing I could have done.
Yeah.
Because I ended up being with that group for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing, and we done a lot of good things and did some traveling together, the lupus support group meeting and everything. So it was wonderful. So I'm thankful that I did do that.
So how could somebody find a lupus support group? How did you find it?
Actually, it was kind of word of mouth, to be honest with you. At this point, I don't know exactly where they are now, because it's been a little while. I would think all you have to do is look it up online, lupus group meetings.
Yeah, probably find a local group chapter. I'm sure they're everywhere. Because that affects a lot of people across the United States. And even if, like I said, if it's not lupus, there's other autoimmune conditions that still are stemming from from your immune system failure. But it's still an autoimmune condition. So yeah. Marcia, thank you so much for being here today. Like I said, I knew that what you had to share was going to be uplifting and encouraging to the viewers and the listeners that are going to see this podcast, because you are definitely an awesome testament of how moving through the storm, you can really do that no matter if you're faced with a health crisis or not, have a quality of life. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We will have information on our website about where you can find information for lupus support groups as well as renal failure support groups. And we just hope that this has been an awesome blessing for you. Take care, and as we always say, have a great day on purpose.